Good morning, World Wide Web. Happy Sunday to you. We're doing a video on the airline industry and Frontier Group Holdings, Frontier Airlines. ULCC is the ticker symbol. This one shot from 10:32 to 10:96 after hours. A little rocket ship. Let me show you this little person that swooped in like a maniac after hours. Good for him. I don't know what's going to happen on Monday with these things. They do move a little bit with the Dow, but they're going to be getting very headstrong very quickly, as it seems like most of them have not done their post-COVID recoveries yet. We went from not letting them fly and giving them government bailout money to just letting them fly a little bit, maybe from some of their locations to some of their locations. But they had, we had embargoes. People from New York couldn't come here, and people from Florida couldn't go to New York, and it was crazy for a while. And some of their bigger hubs are in these areas. If half the country shut down all the way through, most of 2021, or heavily troubled by COVID, we got a lot of problems there. Everybody thought it was going to recover for 2021, but no. Governors and states were still screwing with the airlines, and people weren't really comfortable getting on a plane yet to deal with all the extra bullshit that you had to deal with. Airlines are finally coming back. They're back at pre-COVID levels now. They're full. They're back with the full regular routes. Everything seems to be open. JFK is having trouble right now in New York. There's an air traffic control shortage. They don't have enough of these people apparently, and they've asked all the providers to bring less flights. So the cancellation rate on JFK is very high right now. They're canceling a lot of flights. JetBlue canceled about a half a dozen that were intertwined with JFK on Friday. But they do about 1,000 a day, so about 1,100 flights a day. So to lose 14 on a day would probably be a good day, I would imagine. Yeah, that's how many flights. So when you hear about hundreds of canceled flights, it's like 10% of all their flights probably for the day in that company's case. This is Frontier Airlines, just like this, telling the same story as the other ones, kind of telling the same story as the cruise lines. People are back using them again. People are comfortable again. These are companies that have the capacity of X, and X is the capacity. And we will call X their pre-COVID level. That's their capacity. That's how many butts that they can put in the seats. $15 to $20 a share. Actually, this is all post-COVID. Never mind. We can't even look at this company. It didn't even look like they went public. Let's look at JetBlue real quick. I'll just give you an example because they're really telling the same story on all of them. Let's go to a 5-year. So we got JetBlue trading in the 20s to 25s, rather consistently with its ups and downs, sometimes falling and hitting 18. And it was like this for a very, very long time. From 2015 on, it's been in the high 20s, mid 20s, 2020, and then this big epic collapse, which was just ugh. And if you look at the 5-year chart, you see this big COVID collapse. And then everybody expected them to be allowed to be reopened for 2021. And the governors were weenuses, and they didn't let them in so many of their locations. And people didn't want to fly as much at the same time. And the thing came down, down, down. And it just didn't quit until everyone sees empirical evidence of them being absolutely full and everybody being open. And that's finally where we sit today. Everything's full, everybody's open, and we have some big shifts happening in the airline industry. We have JetBlue buying out Spirit Airlines, a huge deal. It's going to add about $5-6 billion of revenue onto JetBlue. It's going to make them much bigger. The balance sheet is right side up, and they come with a lot of cash. People that are trying to say, oh, I don't know, they're going to carry a lot of debt and blah, blah, blah. No, they're going to be plenty right side up just fine and ready to rock. If you ever looked at the spider web that's created when you are allowed to run out of let's say 10 airports, all 10 locations have, you could draw a line from each location to all the other 9 locations, and then you can crisscross it. You end up with what is that, 10, 100 pieces of string in the end, because that's how many different ways that you can run those routes. When you add one new route, it adds a multiplier times number of strings. Now everything can go to that, and you can go to everywhere else. When you buy out a company like Spirit that has a sizable yet very different market than JetBlue, that's just introducing them to dozens of brand new markets, and it's just going to make the number of threads through the roof. And it's not just the threads that are important, it's the power of the threads. Each piece of thread represents demand and demand, the customer demand, the willingness to buy a ticket, and the willingness to fill the airplane. The more that they analyze the threads, and the ones that are selling the highest, the most capacity, and bringing the most money and filling up the most, those are getting the planes. They send more planes to those locations, and they open up more flights, and they fill that void. And when there's a thread that is low volume, low passenger count, they can pull airplanes away from it to increase the passenger count, and maybe that location becomes deemed not as valuable as the rest. Maybe they look to swap it out one day. But it's very deep. The story is the same with almost all of them, including Frontier, JetBlue, American, even the big ones. Delta is having the same kind of storyline. Delta's a little bit more expensive than these other ones, but it also looks like it's in a juicy spot. They all look like they're in juicy spots. Are they going to stay full? Are people going to quit using the airlines again all of a sudden? Is COVID coming back? I don't know. I don't think anybody cares at this point, to be honest with you. I think we're all just like over it completely. Like, I don't know. We're not going to get into that stuff on this channel, but I think everybody's over COVID, and most people could just care less. And I don't think many governors could have the spine right now to shut things down again. And that would take a whole lot of spine, and I don't know. I'm surprised they got away with it the first time for so long. But JetBlue Airways, Spirit is doing terrible on the books. They've been just falling with all of this garbage. The people not wanting to fly, not being allowed to fly. Right around here, you're allowed to fly again. I guess it didn't really catch on until now that people were flying again. And if you look at the latest numbers, they did much, much better in this latest year. 2022 is remarkably better than 2021, and it was in fact better than pre-COVID. So their usage is up. Fun facts about the airline business: average fuel cost about $10 from New York to Chicago each way. Pretty cheap. I didn't think they could fly somebody for that cheap. A JetBlue airplane, a Spirit airline, a Frontier airline, they hold about 140 passengers. The biggest one now with United is a Boeing 787 that holds 290 passengers. So they do have bigger planes that hold more people and can make more money per flight. But I guess they burn twice as much gas too, but gas doesn't seem to be a big factor. So those big planes would certainly look juicy. You could definitely take more people. Probably cost a whole hell of a lot more too. And they're harder to fill up in these smaller markets, perhaps. Once they start filling up is when the demand swells. United probably can't really make that demand cause the price swelling until that beast has 175 people on it. Then they could probably start charging more. Meanwhile, JetBlue and Frontier and these guys are going to be able to start swelling the price after they sell half their seats, maybe 50, 60, 70 seats. And they're going, okay, it's no longer $229 each way, it's $289 each way. And then they'll sell another 10 seats, and then they'll go, okay, now it's $339 if you want to be on this flight. And then you'll sell another 10 seats. It's an algorithm that just works the prices and hustles you out of as much money as possible per flight and maximizes the fullness of it. It's kind of like artificial intelligence before they had artificial intelligence. The fuel cost at the airports is the $10 per fuel each way on a 2-hour flight is also automatically synchronized by computer into the whole paradigm of the website of the booking process. You're going to pay the correct price. You're going to pay for your own fuel. There aren't going to be mistakes with that stuff. It's not like, oh no, gas went up, the airlines are going to crash. Those days have kind of changed because news is flowing in live time now. Nobody's buying gas for a higher price than they're selling it for, hopefully. And they can buy futures on these things too and offset the cost of it and hedge the cost of it. They can do all kinds of things to guarantee the gas won't hurt them. Anyway, just wanted to share a few fun facts about the airlines. But the whole industry is getting ready to go nuts, is what I'm telling you. A lot of these stocks are going to be doubling, including JetBlue, including FrontierNet. Frontier Airlines is going to be it looks like the only provider of mega discount tickets. They're going to be what Spirit used to be and like what they are now. The only cheapo. It's going to be, they were trying to call it the JetBlue factor. It's actually going to be the Frontier factor. JetBlue is going to buy Spirit. They're going to win the case in November, and they're going to get Spirit, and they are going to raise the prices a little bit, and they're no longer going to have to compete. I didn't realize the value of the competition until I started researching JetBlue's ticket prices and booking fake tickets and acting. I'm probably going to get a call from the FBI. I've been doing so much research on the airlines. We're like, well, you want to know these seat capacities, huh? How come you're so interested in how many of our seats are sold on each flight of these connecting ones? Oh my God. Boy, they got some questions for me. But yeah, so when JetBlue flies to New York, it's kind of cheap from Orlando, Florida. And the reason is because Spirit Airlines flies from Orlando to New York. So Spirit Airlines already has this route. So JetBlue has to slut it out. JetBlue has to sell this route for $140 a ticket. I was showing you some numbers on JetBlue the other day. Now, in some locations, there is no Spirit Airlines option. So like you go from Denver to Dallas, you're going to pay a whole hell of a lot more. And the reason probably is because Spirit Airlines isn't there. And Spirit Airlines, I guess, just sluts it out across the board anywhere to anywhere. They hardly charge more. But yeah, huge. There is a big Spirit Airlines factor going on with JetBlue being forced to crumble and just slut flights out and ruin locations and good traffic zones. Orlando to JFK should be a moneymaker, but Spirit Airlines made it not so. And now I guess Frontier is going to be the only one to make it not so. And hopefully they have a lot less hubs, and hopefully it'll be a lot easier to deal with. And it'll bring back half of their locations is what I'm saying. Right now, JetBlue is screwed on a lot of their locations right now because it's shared with Spirit Airlines. Not many of them are shared, but a good half a dozen of them are shared. And they're all screwing them situations, and those screwing them situations are going to be gone. They'll probably be able to pay the airport less also. They won't have to pay the airport twice. They'll just be able to run JetBlue out of JetBlue, and they won't have to pay the old Spirit fee. Those are the fees that are going away, FYI. The money that Spirit Airlines pays to be a member of the mutual airlines, the ones that JetBlue shares with it, they'll be able to consolidate down to one. So it should greatly reduce the overhead of the Spirit Airline end of the business during the acquisition. So that's one very beneficial way, is all of those hubs can be consolidated. We're going to find out exactly how many there are that are comparable and will be consolidated shortly. But yeah, that seems to be the scoop with the pricing structure. JetBlue has to drop their drawers because Spirit's in town. And probably the same with Frontier. We're going to learn more about Frontier and JetBlue and American and I don't know, possibly a couple more. If you have any others we should include in this hunt. We're looking for companies that were great, that fell to shit because of something that they didn't do wrong, that improved because everybody thought they were going to open, and then collapsed because it didn't open and nobody wanted to fly or go anymore because it was like a cabin with COVID in it. And are those days over? I think they are. Do you think people give a shit anymore? I don't think they do. I think the rest of the story is self-telling. A couple of things to note: JetBlue did not issue more shares because of COVID. They did not dilute themselves like the cruise line industry did. Norwegian and Carnival, both of them, went out and doubled their number of shares on hand. They also doubled their debt. If you look at the debt of these airlines, they hardly added any. They made it all the way through COVID without adding any debt. To 2019, 7.12. Today, 9.48. Okay, so they added $2 billion worth of debt before and after COVID. Their asset line also went up. They probably got some value for it. That wasn't a direct burn. Carnival and Norwegian Cruise Lines both doubled their amount of debt and doubled their amount of outstanding shares. Their post-COVID recovery is on like Donkey Kong and going bonkers. And the reason is because they're full. And when you're full, you report good numbers. And when you report good numbers, your stock goes up like crazy. And gas doesn't seem like it's, it's going to go up and down. I don't know, but the people are going to pay for their own gas. The question is, are they scared of COVID anymore? And I say no. They're not scared to go on cruise ships. They're not scared to fly either. People are going to start flying again. Possible recession ahead could change things. But if you get a good company with good numbers, it's going to be in use anyways. We'll take a look at how they did after the last recession, see how much that hurt the airlines. It probably gutted them out. Who knows? Everybody was probably too poor to fly in the housing crisis. We're going to learn about that too. I just want to make sure our butts are covered. But JetBlue, Frontier, American Airlines, look at all of them. Leave it in the comments below if you want me to look at any other ones. But we're going to do a really big deep dive on these because it's just such opportunity screaming all over it. Oh, please double my money fast. This thing's going to shoot up like a rocket. It's going to go, oh, the planes are full again. Shit, we're at 20. Oh, no, they bought Spirit Airlines. We're at 30. Now they got two huge winners and triple the options and higher prices. And then Frontier is going to go, oh shit, we're the only little player. We can raise our prices 10, 20 bucks. Even if it's going to Frontier is going to have a Frontier effect. And maybe all the other guys are going to be a little bummed. I don't know, but they're probably going to be kicking ass even more. So probably got to look at them as well. Airlines, everybody, that's what's next. Yeah. Take a look. I'm James. More videos to come on more specific stuff. We're still doing our JetBlue analysis today. But yeah, that's what I got out of it. Shared Spirit locations and destinations are terrifically discounted on both ends, and that's going to go away. And that's going to be a really good thing for JetBlue and the consolidation of the mutual hubs. Thank you so much for watching, and get ready to start buying your airlines. So I'm gonna be scooping them up like crazy. Have a wonderful day, and like the video and subscribe to my channel. I appreciate you. Have a great day.